Yeah, 7.2 ounces of very plasticky feeling fishing reel. 7.2 ounces of Periwinkle Fury. 90% of ball bearings are made in China. These are just probably not the best set. I like this. See, this is something that some other manufacturers can kind of take a look at, where you have a separate card that's not folded in like a newspaper worth of 16 different languages of fine print that tells you how to loosen the tension knob a bit to get the side plate off and how to close it. That's actually nice. And the only thing, the 1000% only thing that makes this a more big boy reel is the big boy dollar signs. You start coming up to that above 50, 60, and at $70 plus tax, you're at 75 shipped. You're in Daiwa's wheelhouse, you're in Shimano's wheelhouse, you're in Abu's wheelhouse. You no longer are afforded the protections of being offering a product that the competition just doesn't build. You are now competing, and you will get held to that standard. So it has nothing to do with the fact that I like or dislike KastKing. Gentlemen, ladies, and anyone in between, I welcome you all, and today we'll be doing something that we haven't done in quite some time, and that's do an unboxing. And today's specimen is going to be a new reel from KastKing, which is their Royal Legend Elite. Now, for you guys that have been following me for a while, you'll have seen, no doubt, the video I put out comparing the KastKing Royal Legend versus the Guggen Squad brand's favorite fishing white bird and the Shishimo Korean technology reel, where basically we discovered that the Shishimo and the KastKing were half the price and offered more features than the $80 favorite fishing Guggen Squad brand. And this reel, coming in at $71, shipped off of Amazon Prime, and all of its Periwinkle Fury, is what we're going to be going over today. Now, what attracted me to this reel, truth be told, is the color. The last thing I wanted to do is buy another KastKing reel, and I told myself if it was a piece of junk, I'm returning it. So we're going to find out. This is the first time I've cracked the box. This is the first time I'm seeing it. It looks almost lavender, but when I look through the viewfinder, it comes through more like maybe like a baby blue, like a bird's egg blue maybe, through the viewfinder. But to me, it looks like it's more lavender. I'm not sure if the color on the Amazon listing was different, but I don't remember it being this purpley. But it's a nice color. I don't mind it at all. And from this day forward, the color of this reel shall forever be known as
Periwinkle Fury.
And it's, that being said, it doesn't feel any different than the original Royal Legend. Let's set the free spool up a little bit looser. Ew. Oh, and that was with no drag pressure. Oh no, not a fan. I can feel all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna go ahead. Hold on a second. I'm gonna clip my mic to it, my lapel mic, to the reel foot, and you can hear what I'm hearing. I love doing this, by the way. It is one of the best ways to kind of translate to video what I'm feeling. It really is, because everything is isolated. Everything is locked tight to the frame. And it's just like if you're trying to diagnose something in an engine compartment. If you take a screwdriver, like a flathead screwdriver, stick it to the part, and then stick your ear right up against the end of the screwdriver, you can kind of hear stuff, kind of like sticking a glass cup on the side of a wall trying to hear your neighbors. Same idea. So you're hearing what I'm feeling. And I just dropped it. But you get the point. It's not comparable to the other $70 reels, which is very interesting. Now, I know what KastKing has always tried to do. They try to be an affordable fishing tackle company. Now, there's affordable and there's value. And never once have I seen a product from them that compared to another product from another company at the other company's price level. Meaning, you take a Daiwa, you take a Shimano, compare them side by side. Even say the KastKing Kodiak versus a Shimano Naski or a Fuego LT or a Daiwa BG at a couple bucks more. It doesn't offer you that level of performance and refinement at a cheaper price. It's just a cheaper reel. And I think people are really just trying to look at them like, oh, cool, they're making this reel by cutting out the middleman at a cheaper price. No, take the Shimano, what is it, the Seinen, the old plastic one that they kind of phased out? Much nicer reel than this. The Daiwa Fuego, the $99 retail reel that you can buy on Amazon and eBay for what, 60, 70 bucks? Metal frame, different brake, different spool. Let's take a look at the handles. I like the Daiwa knobs better. I do like the fact they got rid of the stupid foam knobs that all the Chinesium reels had, but tons of play, and it's not a play that's tight. It's just very loose. Like, it just flops around. And I give them brownie points that it doesn't have a lot of lean. Like if I'm trying to lean the knob like this, sometimes that kind of lean, along with the in and out, really makes it feel sloppy. And again, even with Daiwa and Shimano, they have that too. In and out here, that's about standard. And it was a little bit of rock, which you don't get in Daiwa and Shimano reels. And man, I wouldn't want to keep this reel. It's $70. We'll go ahead and go deeper in this reel. The other thing that attracted me to it was the photograph of their brake. I wanted to see what this is all about. This is different. It looks nice. I like this look. It reminds me of the Shimano cores from a few years ago. And okay, so that's how that's adjusted. I wasn't sure if this adjusted the dial, and I just wasn't sure how this functioned via the picture. They had some fancy kind of blue graphic that almost had that same kind of bluish hue. I think the camera picks up. Yeah, it does. That blue kind of. That's kind of cool. It looks like there's like a lighting coming out. That's a nice little paint effect on the box. And oh yeah, forgot to mention. Prop 65. This box will give you cancer. Maybe it's that blue. Maybe that's that blue that's going to give off cancer. All right. So this reel feels to be 7-ish ounces. 7-ish ounces of very, very plastic feeling winch. Really doesn't exude any quality in the hand. Now that's coming from a person. If you buy this reel and you have KastKing Royal Legends and some other the lower priced bait casters, you're not going to notice an increase in quality. I would hope you wouldn't, because it's just not there. I don't feel it. Like old cheap Quantum reels had a better feel than this. Some of the cheap older Abu Garcia reels have a better feel than this. And every bait caster from Lew's that I've handled, and Daiwa and Shimano, Abu, at this price range between $70 and we'll say $90, had a much better feel than this. Right off the bat. It's very noticeable. And yeah, 7-ish ounces. This was 7.2 with no line on it. So yeah, 7.2 ounces of very plasticky feeling fishing reel. 7.2 ounces of Periwinkle Fury. I really hope I can get the accurate color representation to come through in the video, because I'm looking through the viewfinder and again, it's very blue when it really isn't. So we're going to go ahead now and take a look at the brake, and then we'll go over what's in the box, because this is an unboxing. You have a spool, which is made out of metal, has what appears to be some sort of stainless steel main shaft that goes through it, and the coating is kind of textured. I'll see if I can clip this on here. You can get my drift. It's kind of textured. And the brake. And it is interesting to see that the side plate stays on. So they addressed some complaints from people that were worried about losing side plates. Magnet, side plate, plastic, ball bearing, embedded in plastic. Similar in design to their previous generation, but different in the fact that it's the entire plate comes out. Very Abu-ish. If I'm being honest. It reminds me of some of the brake plates that I've seen on Abus from their IVCB4 centrifugal brakes. This plate here, only they embedded magnets in the plastic. And we'll see how strong these mags are. Okay, yeah, they're strong magnets. You can feel there's a little spring on there too, or some kind of springiness. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and pop this spool back in. And we'll do a quick free spool check with an empty line. Don't expect monster free spool of any reel, even a saltwater reel with no line on it right out of the box, because the grease or oil in the spool bearings isn't dissipated. That's respectable. It's crunchy though. Here, once again. I'm going to turn the mic volume up. I'm going to have to turn it. Shimano bearings are quieter, Daiwa bearings are quieter, Abu bearings are quieter. So, 90% of ball bearings are made in China. These are just probably not the best set. Okay. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and set this aside and go over the packaging. Now, the packaging I like. The box, but that shouldn't play into why you buy a reel. I like this cutout. Brilliant design. Keeps everything square, everything in order. And then you have this here. Whoop-de-doo. It just keeps everything lifted off the bottom to make room for all this stuff, which... I like this. See, this is something that some other manufacturers can kind of take a look at, where you have a separate card that's not folded in like a newspaper worth of 16 different languages of fine print that tells you how to loosen the tension knob a bit to get the side plate off and how to close it. That's actually nice, and that's thinking outside the box. God, that was corny. Now, if you look here, I don't know what this is. I think I remember seeing this. Okay, so this is where KastKing is going to kind of make me feel bad for when I poo-poo on some of their products, because they have a list here what appears to be some of the charitable organizations they pass some of their profits on. And I can definitely tell you, without a middleman, importing these reels direct from China, selling them direct on Amazon or through their website. So the profit margins are very high. And point being, they have a lot of money to throw around to charities. And this is grease, oil, centrifugal, brake adjustment. There is none on here. Hey, how come this doesn't have a centrifugal brake adjustment? What's the gear ratio of this one? I don't remember. I realized after I ordered it that I just literally clicked on the color, and that was the extent of what I looked at. So I don't even know what the gear ratio is. I was hoping it was like a 7.3 or a 6.6. My guess is it's a fast one, but I don't know. All right, so how to spool baitcaster. Make sure you buy KastKing line. Oh, that's cute. It's a Backlash Ghost because it's a thing of the past. No centrifugal brakes. This, to me, looks like the old brake ring of the old Royal Legend here. Or one of their old... What reel is that from? Because there's no metal ring here. I don't know all of the KastKing rings or brakes, but I don't know which ones had that metal ring. I do know some of the cheaper other brands that had similar reels to this offered the metal ring with no centrifugal type brake or pressure brake. And if this is indeed my reel, the knobs look like they're Daiwa knobs. They don't look like these knobs. They kind of look like these knobs, only they're shinier. They're more like Daiwa knobs. And the spool tension adjustment knob is a copper color or gold color. Okay. And yeah, I don't want to go any further with this. 20 line pound, 20 to 30%. We don't even know why or what that means. Okay, enough of that. What else is in this box? Schematics. We've had some fun with these in the past. How many ball bearings in the handle knobs, ladies and gentlemen? There's 12 ball bearings in the reel. Ball bearings on the worm. Okay. Boom, boom. Boom. Right there. I saw the shadow of my finger. I thought it was like something getting blurred out. I'm like, I haven't even edited anything yet. Okay, so we got 2 ball bearings there. Ball bearing there. Ball bearing there. Oh, Jesus. How many ball bearings are in this spool? The handle knobs. Whew. My guess is they're loaded. And there's nothing but stuff. Okay. So we got numbers, letters, colors, everything you need in life. Okay. So I guess they didn't want me to laugh at them. I'm gonna be narcissistic here. They blurred out all the ball bearings. They kept them inside part number 64. They didn't break them out loose like they did in the other reel, so I could sit here and laugh at them hysterically for having six ball bearings in these. But I'm looking and trying to just do a quick overview while I'm not wasting much of you guys' time while I'm reading this. Is there really 6 ball bearings in the handle knobs in this little KastKing? What is this? Right here. Oh, it's part number 77777. 6. We got 6. We got 6 ball bearings in them handle knobs. That's an A for effort. I still crack up over that. That just goes to tell you how they just don't care. There's no need for that at all. And say that there's 5 in each handle knob, or 4. Yeah, say there's 2. Say there's 2 in each handle knob. Let's get a sound. Get a sound check. Does that sound good to you? Does it? That sounds like crap. It doesn't. And again, when you turn the handle, you don't feel that sound, but it's very raspy. They're very cheap ball bearings all throughout this reel. They might be cheaper than the ball bearings used in the older $40 KastKing Royal Legend. That's just speculation. I don't know if that's true or not, so don't hold me to that. All right, now it's time to do what we do best. We're going to take it down to the frame and take a look at what makes this periwinkle beast chooch. Stay tuned for that. All right, now it is time for the main event of the evening. That was the most unenthusiastic way to do Bruce Buffer. Bruce Buffer, I'm a fan. I apologize. All right, so we got that out, and I actually used a size 1 instead of my trusty rusty 00, or 0, I should say. Which doesn't often come out. Not in a baitcaster this size, anyway. And the first thing I'm noticing is the handle. Made out of metal, assuming aluminum. Very thick. And they're not using the crappy foam knobs of yesteryear. They're using some kind of soft touch rubberized knob. I like that. I don't like foam knobs. Foam, real seats and such, I don't mind. Big power knobs, power handles made out of EV, I don't mind. But these type of deals, no, not a fan. I like the eye-shaped soft touch rubber. It's opinion. You guys may like them. It's up to you. Really plasticky drag star. A little bit different from the original Legend that had like a sleeve of plastic on the inside that went up against the click plate. Other than that, it's the same or similar design. It's not an upgrade. You got your Belleville washers on your click plate. You have a ball bearing at the top here, which the original had as well. And again, you heard me critiquing how not smooth of a cranker this was, with no load on it, mind you. There was no load being put on it, and it still wasn't smooth, which is pretty rare. It just goes to show you, even though this is one of my favorite features to see in a reel, it still has to be a quality reel for it to make a difference. Just throwing that out there. We're going to go ahead and again, this isn't a KastKing Bash Fest. At the $40 price range, I think they make a good product because it doesn't exist really from any of the other competition out there. But now they're getting into the big boy world. And, you know what? And the only thing, the 1000% only thing that makes this a more big boy reel is the big boy dollar signs. You start coming up to that above 50, 60, and at $70 plus tax, you're at 75 shipped. You're in Daiwa's wheelhouse. You're in Shimano's wheelhouse. You're in Abu's wheelhouse. You no longer are afforded the protections of being offering a product that the competition just doesn't build. You are now competing, and you will get held to that standard. So it has nothing to do with the fact that I like or dislike KastKing. They've been around for a while now. I don't want to say they've hidden, but the stigma has always been they offer value for your dollar. And I never really agreed with that. It was more or less they offered prices on products that weren't offered at that price point by other manufacturers for that product. You compare a KastKing Kodiak at whatever its retail price is, it's not a cheaper version of a Daiwa BG. The Daiwa BG is flat out, in every way, shape, and form, a better reel. Sorry, it's just a higher quality. Everything feels better about it. I have one of them sitting around somewhere. Hold on a second. I yanked my mic off trying to grab it. There you go. This thing, beaten to hell. I think it was 3 weeks old, and it's destroyed. Aluminum gear. Huh. Well. Oy vey. I wonder if aluminum gears are more expensive to manufacture than brass. I'm really, really curious about it. And this is probably the wrong thing to say, and it means nothing. I'm just saying it because it just caught my eye. The big chunky teeth on it are reminiscent of what I've seen in the 13 fishing reels. Not saying anything. I might have to edit that out because I don't want to piss off 13 fishing fanboys. It was just, you know what it is? I've had the Concept Z apart over the last couple of days, and it's fresh in the head. That's probably why I'm thinking that. So, not really noticing anything special. 2 springs for the thumb bar. Let's take a look at the thumb bar. Left-hand side, all the way opposite. Not seeing any flex. Right-hand side. Let's simulate a load, meaning a heavy lure. Feels good. That's a good thumb bar. Ball bearing. How about that? Now, if you've ever come across reviews that I've done on some high-end reels, and I say high-end because usually reels under the $200 to $300 price point don't come equipped with ball bearing supported level wind worms. It's just something that they leave out or just don't do. And while in a reel that comes in at $300, $400, $500, $600, it's something that I really do want in a freshwater reel. The reel itself is also of the upper echelon Rolex type quality, and that just adds to the experience you get for that price point. And a reel at $70, that take that $70 that I just said out the window. Say this is a $400 reel, and it's as smooth as this reel is. Having ball bearings here versus bushings made out of plastic, nylon, doesn't matter, would make no difference at all whatsoever, because this reel's just not a smooth cranking reel to begin with. Now you put a reel that is super smooth, the Daiwa Steez, an Antares, a Bantam MGL, a Chronarch, or a Morum, put bushings here, and it's going to be smooth. Put ball bearings there, it's not going to be much of a difference. It's just, I don't even, it's not even needed. It really isn't. Anybody that says you need it is, it's just, you just want it there because they're more expensive than some bushings. You know what I mean? They're not putting like $10 ball bearings there. They're probably 20 cents from Daiwa or Shimano, but it just has the aura of being more expensive. Oy. The frame here, it's plastic. There's no denying that. I mean, what else is there? The chin piece here? We're not going to go further. That's springs. Man, there's no reason why this reel should be $70. They're putting ball bearings in places that they can actually point out where people who are a fan of, bass fishing, who do some, light reading on the forums and what things people want in a high-end reel, and they slap ball bearings on both sides of the worm. So somebody who comes like, oh wow, that's found in high-end reels, that's what people really want. When in actuality, they don't make any difference at all. And in a saltwater reel, you don't want them there in the first place because they'll corrode, and then you have the worm running on seized ball bearings instead of nylon bushings. So yeah, this is a lose for me. I don't like it. This to me looks like, what is this more expensive? It's 7.2 ounces with an aluminum gear, and it's all plastic. Why would you go aluminum and then stick at that weight range overall? I mean, aluminum gears don't hold up as well as brass on brass. Plain and simple. There's no denying that. From my personal experience with some fancy reels having failures on aluminum gears, you don't see aluminum gears on a lot of the saltwater reels. You still see brass on brass or stainless on stainless. If you see stainless on brass, you may want to kind of avoid that, just because brass on stainless, you'll have a higher wear rate. Aluminum on brass for bass gear, yeah, it's only there for weight savings, and you're still over 7 ounces without line. So you're probably at 7.5 ounces with line. There's no need for it. Come in at 8 ounces with the brass gear, it'll probably be smoother too. And again, a lot of reels that are not at the ultra high level, like you're above your Chronarchs, your $400 reels for aluminum gears, you feel them. They've given all sorts of fancy words to describe the sensation you feel of aluminum gears, connected feel, this, that, and the other thing. It's just not that good of a feel. The metal harshness, the lightness causes more of a resonance inside the reel, and you feel it more. You don't want to feel the gears. And whether you go big teeth, little teeth like a micro module, it don't matter. You just don't want to feel the gears. I'm feeling more than just the gears with this reel. And yeah, and it's with that being said, I'm not impressed by it. I'm not going to keep it. I was thinking about doing a giveaway or sending this, and I'm going to return it. This is just, I feel as though this reel should be $50 tops, $10 more than the last one. I'm not really seeing anything of significant value to me as a fisherman. The break in the side plate, the redesign, I would assume it's just a bit more effective. Let's see. Let's put the spool back in. The ball bearings should center everything, so it should run the normal free spool. There we go. Brake set to free. Yeah, I could definitely tell that the spool does have, or is impacted more by the brake. You can see how it slows down almost immediately. The older reels, the original, see how it's going for a lot longer. The older reels, the brake wasn't all that impactful. So my criticism, really my only criticism of that $40 variant, was that it wasn't very noob friendly. Somebody who's new to bait casting reels may just dabble their toes in or dip their toes in and only spend $40 on a reel. And unfortunately, this was really one of the biggest names on the market for that price range. And when you're learning, that learning curve is kind of rough on newbies, and you'll be blowing up left and right because the brake just didn't have much of an impact. So when you are learning on a reel, you want a reel that has a ton of braking and a ton of a lot of variation in that brake. So you can go from high to low. As you grow and learn, you turn the braking down. You get rid of the spool tension, and you just rely solely on the brake and your thumb as you start learning how to use it. That reel was pretty hot, meaning there wasn't a lot of braking. This reel, there's a lot of braking. You can turn that dial up, and you can definitely learn on this reel. For $70, that's an improvement, but it's not an improvement that costs any more money for KastKing to make. They still use the same amount of magnets. They still use a similar design. It just looks different. And as far as what creates more braking, the only thing that creates more braking is getting the magnets closer to the spool. That's it. So does that cost more money? So yeah. And if you look at the side plate in the profile, it looks very similar to that last generation reel. I don't want to make any assumptions saying that the frame is the same, but it could be. Who knows? This looks familiar, this little spider webbing design with the plastic. But that's, again, you see that in a lot of cast plastics, outside the fishing reel industry, power drills and stuff like that for reinforcing. But yeah, you have a ball bearing at the base of the handle shaft. This is made out of brass. Carbon fiber drag stack. Let's take a... Oh yeah, they did not improve their carbon fiber washers at all. Very papery, very, very flimsy. You can see it being all sorts of flexible. It's almost deteriorating in my hands. You can see it's all over the main gear, or I mean the plates. See how flimsy it is? It's almost like it's breaking now. It's low quality. It's just, no. That doesn't mean it's not going to be smooth for a period of time, but it's... Did I see blue grease? There wasn't much gear grease on here, but there was on here. Look at this. Focus. Look at that. Now, I bring this up only because I've been working on a bunch of the new pen reels. I got 3 of the new Spinfisher 6s that are due out October, November of this year. So I have them pre-release, which is something you don't see very often on a YouTube channel. And take a look. That looks near identical. What does it smell like? Ooh. Oh, that's got to be it. Pen grease has a very pungent, very it stands out in the world of lubes, and it's always been one of my least favorites. I always found that if any moisture kind of emulsifies with it over time, it gets very waxy. That may only be because I see a lot of Pen Zs that use pen grease and they're caked with it, and it's almost like a Crayola crayon melted and then hardened. But it's just never been my favorite. I've literally in my entire life only bought this much, and that's only work on a couple subscribers who have sent me reels that to maintain the warranty status on a pen reel, you have to use pen grease and oil. So that's why I have this little tiny tub and it's barely used. But I've seen it and come across it in tons of reels. It's just not my favorite. And that's what's found its way into here. So that's interesting. Does Pen own KastKing? Ooh, Pure Fishing own KastKing? I'm just kidding. Wait, KastKing is sold on Amazon. Does that mean Amazon's buying Pure Fishing? Which means Amazon's buying Pen Fishing? You heard it here first. I don't know where I'm going with that. It's Pure Fishing supposedly up for sale again from the Newell company. That's been the rumor going around for the last year, I guess. But I don't know, that's getting sidetracked. But for all intents and purposes, this is complete, this unboxing and teardown. And I hate saying don't buy a product. I don't, because everybody's going to find a home for something. I don't want this reel. Like, I have nothing against inexpensive fishing gear. I like fancy stuff, but I have, I understand the niche and the space in the market that lower price products fit. And I will never say that, oh, this reel's a piece of junk because it's cheap. Or I'll never say a store is overpriced because they sell quality product. But when you're up in the playing field, when you're sitting bottom of the ninth, playoffs in Yankee Stadium, and you strike out, I'm booing your ass. It doesn't matter if you're Don Mattingly or Bill Buckner. It doesn't matter. You're on the field, you're playing ball, you're open to criticism, and for that, I'm going to say I don't like this reel. If I can return it, I am. $70, not worth it to me. $70, I'm spending my money elsewhere. Daiwa Fuego, hands down. I'm very interested to see what that new Shimano black and blue reel that debuted at iCast is, coming in at $99. It reminds me very much of the old Corrado. Metal frame, lots of good bits, and the standard, what is it, the 6-pin centrifugal brake that they had in the original Corrados going back, and it's $99. So Shimano saw what Daiwa did with the Fuego, which is basically a Tatula without the T-wing, and you can get Tatulas for around $100 on the Fleabay. And, I'll put links down below. And I'll put links down below to Amazon for this reel as well. And now you could see the pricing. $70, guys. This isn't a cheap reel anymore. This isn't, KastKing's wheelhouse. KastKing's wheelhouse, in my eyes, has always been that $40 reel. And up next, I will be doing a review of another KastKing reel. And this is going to be 2 for 2 on the KastKing front. We're going to take out the Speed Demon. That's going to be another good one. I put some time on this one. I've been fishing this one. This was a reel that was very generously supplied by a subscriber. It's a left-hand version. And before I did this review and started putting this review together for that Speed Demon, I made sure that I really got up to snuff on throwing a left-handed reel, because I was fishing at a Komodo, Akuma Komodo from yesteryear when I was doing the larger low profiles, and that's when I kind of started using left-handed bait casters, and I just wasn't that great with it. And I decided that moving forward I have to use lefties more often if I'm going to be reviewing them, if they're being submitted by subscribers. And I became more proficient with the lefties. So when I review this reel, it's a lefty. So if you guys see this, it's going lefty to righty, blah, blah. I'm proficient in both now. And I'm not a fan of that one either. It's like, holy crap. Anything over $40 from KastKing, it's just, you start comparing it to the stuff that's in its price range. Buy a reel because it's got a fast gear ratio. Fast gear ratios are now selling points in reels. Who'd have thunk it? But to each their own. And it says, with that being said, for you guys that are still here listening to me ramble incoherently and incessantly, I thank you all for all your time. I appreciate every second of every minute that you guys spend here. Without you, I'd have no reason to be here. And it's, with that being said, tight lines. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe. And I will see you all soon.